Hey folks, Rob Franek here, Editor-in-Chief at the Princeton Review. Today we are talking about 4 things that you need to know about the digital SAT. It's coming up, as you know, March 9th is going to be the first administration across these United States of that digital exam. Here are the 4 things you need to know. Number 1, the timing on the SAT is far different from its pencil and paper incarnation. On the old pencil and paper test, it was a 3-hour exam. On the new test, it is a 2-hour exam. It's really 2 hours and 14 minutes, but I don't want to split hairs here. This is of great value to students because testing fatigue, focusing on that test for 3 hours in its past incarnation is a lot, so this is of great value to students. Number 2 on my list is the SAT in its digital format is going to be an adaptive exam. I'm sure that you know this, but let's just say it out loud what an adaptive test actually means. In the reading and writing section and the math section, there are only 2 sections on the SAT. On the reading and writing section, there are going to be 2 cohorts of questions. The first cohort of 25 questions and the second cohort of 25 questions. Depending on how well you perform on that first 25 questions will determine the next level of difficulty in the next level of questions. So if you perform really well on those 25 questions, you will be rewarded with likely more difficult questions in the second 25. But the inverse logic happens as well. If you perform poorly on that first 25 questions, the next cohort of questions that you'll see in that next 25 set will likely be easier than the first. Now, I've just walked down memory lane here. We have told all of our students at the Princeton Review in the old pencil and paper test that you receive no additional points on the pencil and paper SAT for answering the hardest questions on the SAT correctly than you do the easiest questions on the SAT. So the obvious strategy was answer all of the easy questions first and then spend your extra time focused on those harder questions. That logic kind of goes out the window. It at least gets parsed into these channels of cohorts of questions. So you have complete mobility over that first 25 questions, and then you will never see them again ever to go back to them. So that's important to keep in mind, but that adaptive logic works for both sections of the SAT. Next on my list is that calculators will be embedded in the digital app. So the Blue Book app that you'll be taking the SAT on that's created by the College Board has a built-in calculator, and you'll be able to use that calculator in every section on the math exam. That is far different from what happened in the past for the pencil and paper test where you could use it on some math and you couldn't use it on some other sections of the math, but that all goes away. You can use the built-in calculator or you can bring your own, your choice, but you can use it throughout all math sections. And the last one is that you'll be taking the digital SAT in a proctored environment. In a testing center, usually it's a high school, either your high school or a neighboring high school. This is important because if something comes up, if something terrible should befall you, you lose power during the exam, or you have a question, you can reach out to the proctor in that environment. So folks, these are deeply important things. We know you're going to rock this new exam. Our full team at the Princeton Review is rooting for you. If you have any questions, put them in the comments and I'll answer them as quickly as possible. Be well, signing off for today.